All right, guys, welcome to the NSL Weekly Podcast, episode 8. This is the last episode we have right before Madden drops on EA Access, so we'll be able to give some, next week, we'll be able to give some thoughts on the game. But before that, before the game drops, I just want to go around asking everybody what do they expect from Madden 17 as a game? What do they think on a scale of getting better or being the exact same, or do you have faith in this Madden to change stuff up, get a little bit more towards what we're trying to do? Just an all around sense of what you're expecting from Madden. Coach?
I don't expect much, to be honest with you. I've heard all those stories many times, but I do expect them to make one major change. I don't know what that's going to be, but it seems like they seem to do one thing right each year, so I'm going to go with that.
One major change?
Yep.
All right, how about you, Lacey?
Yeah, I expect a lot of promises and hopes and dreams to be shattered. I think there'll be one thing that they introduce that's really good but overpowered. A patch will come quickly. We will all enjoy the game for about 2 months, and then slowly but surely, one by one, everybody will start to hate it.
It sounds like Madden every single year.
Right. Nothing changes.
Okay, how about you, Extreme? I don't think you've been playing Madden as long as us. You might not be as pessimistic.
It's always the same no matter what year it is, and every time they come out with it, it just seems to be the same game to me. A little bit of changes here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I hear the same thing from them every year, and some people get called up to game changers, and some of their critics will stop being as critical of the game. I've noticed that EA likes to take some of its biggest critics and start giving them free games and stuff, and all of a sudden they're not critics anymore. Unfortunately, they don't do that to us, so we are still pessimistic. I hear about how much they're catering to the sim community, but I've also heard that every year for the last 20 years. I hear about the changes that are going to be made and how they can't do it all in one thing, and they have to do something to build on. But I've heard that every year for 20 years, and they never build on the things they say that they're implementing right now to build on later. They never end up building on it. So it's just we get this half-ass product, half-ass feature we get every year, or that's supposed to be the beginning year of something, and it never fleshes out. The things that they do implement are usually super overpowered because they want to show that they work. So the aggressive catch for last year is an example, where you got people just one-handing it behind their back every single catch deep instead of working on fundamentals. That's cool. It's in the game. That catch is awesome. It's nice. It should be in the game, but it shouldn't be in the game 3 times, 4 times a game. My expectations are very lowered. I don't have a lot of faith in EA. I know a lot of the people that have their ears in EA and get paid for EA do, but we don't. I don't. So I don't have any, and I know Rex is a good guy, and I know Rex, and Clint and all those guys talk a big game, but everybody I know does. So, anything y'all want to comment on that, or we just?
I was just thinking that I don't think that it's really made for, I think they want to show off things and make it more exciting than actually have the type of gameplay that, true football fans want to see. I mean, they might as well be making it just like NFL Blitz all over again.
Yeah. The thing I don't understand is for some reason EA has this ridiculous marketing strategy that you got to make it accessible for everybody. And I get where that would make sense to somebody who doesn't play video games, but to somebody who does, that concept is retarded. The casual gamers are going to buy what the hardcore gamers buy, which is why NBA Live is dead right now, because they tried to do that with NBA Live, but they had a sim competition, a sim level competition, And even though 2K isn't the greatest, they're much closer to sim than NBA Live was, and it's what killed them. And I don't know how EA doesn't see that. I don't understand why EA still has this ridiculous thought that they need to cater to the casuals, because the casuals aren't going to buy what the hardcore gamers don't buy. That's just fact. And the dwindling Madden sales prove that. What were you going to say, Lacey?
There's no other competition for football games. So you make a good football game, everybody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
You make something half-assed, only the people that are hardcore are going to buy it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they go away from this licensing deal that they're doing now, where they're licensing a sport for multiple years. I think that hurts, the developers, where you've before watching live, NBA Live or 2K at its prime, those kind of went head to head for a while, and it made a better game. And I hate to say it, but even with Madden, when you had the Joe Montanas and you had all these other games that were around, it created some type of competition. And now with these licenses, I can't play a baseball game unless I've got a PlayStation 4. And so I'm pretty sure that that's the way the future's going. I hate it. I think it sucks, but I think that's the way it's going.
Something that should be telling is the fact that more people have gaming consoles now than they ever have before in history. Everybody has one. And yet Madden is selling fewer and fewer copies every year. How that happens is straight on EA for their lackluster attempts every year. You go from gaming is more prevalent now than it ever has been, but they still they're still losing customers, and they got to make up for it with some MUT and things like that. But enough with the pessimistic. Let's get something optimistic that they did do. They brought in formation subs after saying they wouldn't. I guess that was their way of, I don't know, maybe they were working on it, didn't know if they'd get it done. So that's going to be something very positive. They did not get it for special teams. I think particularly kickoffs. I think they might have gotten it in there for punts. They did not get it on there for kickoffs, which is one of the things I used to use for formation subs the most, to put some of those backup linebackers in the kick return. Like, I'd get them for speed and strength, hit power only, just so they'd go and lay some wood down on the kickoff returns. Can't do that, though. As always, something good with EA. They can't be all the way good, or that would not be EA. Got to have a little bit of bad in there. Iron it out. But that being said, it's still a cool thing. It's going to be able to allow a lot of people to utilize more people on their rosters. I plan on using it quite a bit. Maybe using some lower level players that I only want to use in certain situations. Cordero Patterson's a good example. I can use him. Maybe put him out on some screens or some quick plays where he doesn't have to necessarily get open, just get the ball in his hands. So I think it's a good thing. I really wish they would have done it all the way, but I mean, it's EA. You got to take what you can get. Lacey?
Yeah, I'm glad it's back, because I did lots of formation stubs last year, but you had to do it every single game, manually, in between plays, and it took forever. There's a couple times where I'd have to use a timeout just because I was running out of time, or call a play and go snap it without making any sort of reads or hot routes and whatnot. So I'm glad it's in there. Hopefully it works where you only have to do it once and it's set. Now, if they would bring back the shadowing a wide receiver with a certain DB and that kind of thing, I'd be really excited.
Yeah, for some reason they said that's really hard to code. I don't understand why it would be. That seems like a fairly simple code to me, but I'm not a game programmer, so maybe I'm missing something.
If you can code it in 2008, you can code it in 2016.
This is the same EA people that said making the Vikings numbers, because they were different, was impossible to code, and then 2 years later put it in. So I don't know. I know that, but what you were saying, it is going to help with the game speed, because I had to sub Anthony Barr into my nickel packages, because for some reason they do not put Anthony Barr nickel packages in the Minnesota playbook. I don't know why. Coach, what are your thoughts on the formation subs?
I think it's amazing. I like Lacey was one of those guys who would do it anyway last year, and just kind of got used to what formation I was going to do it, and kind of had a rhythm, push LB 5 times or whatever it was, and get to the player. So I definitely think it's going to be a great addition to the game. I don't see why it was ever taken out of the game. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. I will definitely be using that for sure.
Okay. Your thoughts there, Extreme?
Like what they said, I think it's good. That way I don't end up getting a delay of game called on me for trying to figure out who I'm going to put in and where I'm going to put them at. And then, like you were saying, too, that way I can get more people on my roster in to be able to fill spots and bring in some key guys, maybe in a slot like D'Anthony Thomas, and put him in maybe in a slot or something from, running back to wide receiver, and then change some other things up. And I have some things I have to work on as far as my defensive line or the offensive line, too.
Yeah, it almost seems like at this point, formation subs should have been in. We should have had specific play subs. We should be gone a point past where they were last gen, but we're almost caught up to not even last gen, 2 gens ago. We're almost caught up to PS2 features. So that's nice, We get up to PS2 features, we're gonna be really well off. But I don't want to be too pessimistic. I am disappointed it's not on kickoffs. Hopefully it'll be maybe patched in. Another thing, I hope they do not have a patch that we have to wait for a month and a half this year, because that was really terrible last year, waiting for a month and a half to start our league, because if we started the league early, it would be broken. I really hope that's not the case this year. All right. It's going to be a quick podcast today. We got 2 more topics. First one, NSL Super Bowl winner. We're just going to go over that real quick. Who do you got for your NSL Super Bowl winner, Lacey? You?
God. If I knew how well my offensive line was going to play, I'd probably say I'd pick myself. But I think Mike Titan's probably my odds-on favorite to start the season.
He's got a good roster and a good team, and he plays good. Who's he going to beat in the AFC?
He will beat. Oh God, I got to think of who's who now. I will say he will beat Waka.
Okay, fair enough. Waka does have the Raiders, good team. He really wants AP. Don't know if that's going to happen. That video I posted last night, I don't know if y'all saw it, but AP pretty much just put his hand in 6 people's faces and pushed them over. So hopefully he does that in the game. Coach, Super Bowl predictions? Much too early Super Bowl predictions?
Yeah, man, that's tough. That's a tough one right there. At this early, I'm going to go. I hate to go with the homer pick with Lacey, man, but I think at this early, I'm going to go with my man Lacey.
Okay. And who's he got him beating in the AFC?
I'm going to go ahead and go with the Steelers owner.
Brodsky?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not a terrible pick. He played pretty well last year. Extreme, you haven't played a lot of us, but you played enough of us. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl?
I'm not really sure. I played against Waka, and I think him and the Raiders are good. And not really sure. I played Lacey. I know Lacey's pretty good, so that'd be the pick, the only I think of.
Okay. You're not going to pick a winner? Just going to say?
No, because I have no idea.
I'm going to go NFC too. There's too much firepower in the NFC, as always. I don't know why our AFC, and this is going all the way back to the original Clutch days, the NFC has just always been so overpowered compared to the AFC. And I don't know why. We just got more overpowered with Mike Titan. We did lose Kyle, but Mike Titan's an equal replacement, in my opinion. The only thing he does is choke in the Super Bowl, but he can get there, so... Maybe that won't happen with Tony Romo. We know how clutch Tony Romo can be. This is a tough one. I don't know. It's AFC. I'll go Waka. I don't have any or Kyle. No, I'll go Kyle. I think Waka's gonna have to figure out that team a little bit, but I'll go Kyle. I think Kyle that Jaguars roster is good enough for Kyle to take it or come close, but. I don't think he's going to beat who's in the NFC, and I don't know who's going to be coming out of the NFC, but just picking somebody, I guess I'd have to go Lacey. I think his roster's better than mine, and I think it'll be a toss between him and the Cowboys roster, who's also ridiculous. Probably way overpowered compared to what they did last year, but it's Madden. So I guess I'll go Lacey Kyle with Lacey taking it. Didn't you face Kyle in a Super Bowl last year?
Yes, overtime, Jamal Charles, 80-yard touchdown to beat me. After Cam Chancellor dropped a pick at the 5 in regulation. So that's why he was going to get traded, but the no trade list saved his ass.
Well, good news. Though we still have yet to have a repeat Super Bowl winner. I hope that continues. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to not root for some of my fellow NFC guys, but I would definitely I'd like the parity of our league, and I want that to continue. So, all right, fair enough. Sounds like the NFC is heavily favored, except for Extreme, who has no idea. Last topic we're gonna go today, like I said, it's a quick podcast. Is gonna be real life NFL. We're gonna pick 6 teams from the NFC and 6 teams from the AFC to make the playoffs. I'll go first. I'm gonna go with in the NFC East. I guess it's a tough one. I just don't think the Cowboys are gonna have enough defense. I'm gonna go Redskins. I think they were building something nice there, and they got a little bit more pieces than the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys defense, especially with how many players are going to be missing through suspensions and terminations and losing, it's a lot. It's going to hurt them. You also have to hope Tony Romo can survive the year, and I don't care what I saw from Dak Prescott. That's not going to be how he's going to play in an NFL game year one if Romo does get hurt. NFC North, I got the Vikings winning the North. Fuck the Packers. NFC South, I want to pick the Panthers. I think I'm going to go with the Panthers. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. People forget the year before they were 7-9, and they did lose Josh Norman, and that might hurt more than some people think because your front seven's great, but now we're going to see if Josh Norman had any ability or if it was just the front seven making him. So Cam also, despite what people seem to think, that offensive line of Cam's is a patchwork offensive line. It is besides Ryan Khalil, the rest of them are, one of them is actually off of our practice squad, the right tackle, Mike Remmers, we cut. And then he's as soon as we cut him, he's starting for the Panthers. He's not very good, and he showed it in the Super Bowl. Who else have we got? NFC West. Yeah, Seahawks, I guess. I don't think they're going to start off as slow as they did last year. Cam isn't holding out. He should be back to his form. I think it's going to come down between them and the Cardinals. That'll be one of my wild cards, the Cardinals, and the other one will be the Packers. I think the Seahawks are I don't know how they're maintaining this roster, but they still have a strong roster. Jimmy Graham coming back, and debatably, Russell played his best when everybody was out. So that's my pick for them. AFC, go through a little bit quicker. I think the Broncos still take it. I don't think anybody else in that division. No, I'm going to go Chiefs. Chiefs are going to take it. I think the Chiefs are a little bit better than the Broncos just because of the quarterback situation. NFC, I got the Bengals taking the South. Is it? No, that's
North.
West. North. Yeah. North. East, Patriots, obviously. South, I'm going to take the Colts. I think Andrew Luck's coming back. I think he's going to be a little bit better than last year. I don't think the Jags have. Now, they have a lot of young talent, but we got to remember they were a 5-11 team last year, and Jalen Ramsey and Miles Jack aren't going to turn them around that quickly. Still have quite a few holes on that team. I got the wild cards being the Steelers and the Jets. Since Ryan Fitzpatrick came back, I think the Jets are good enough. So who you got, Lacey?
NFC East, I got the Redskins as well. I think they beat the Giants by a game. I think the winner of that division is probably 9-7, 10-6 at best. They'll be the number 4 seed. South, I think the Panthers win it, but I really don't want to pick them because I think they're going to struggle this year a lot more. And I think they probably only win the division by a game or two. NFC North is probably the toughest one for me. I want to say Packers. I just don't know that I believe it. So I'm gonna go Vikings win the division by a game. NFC West. I think the Hawks are ready to make a run. Much easier beginning of the schedule this year. I think we're gonna get off to a hot start, and I think we'll win the division, and I think we'll have the number 1 seed. Wild cards. I got. Oh God, Packers and Cardinals probably.
So we have the exact same NFC playoff.
Yeah, I think so. There's just not. There's some surface teams behind them that are right there, but I don't know if they'll make a jump. AFC. I've got the Jets winning the East. I think that Brady suspension is going to put them behind the 8 ball, and their schedule's pretty tough. I've got the NFC North or the AFC North, the toughest one for me. I think I'm going to go with the Steelers. I hate them, but I think they're going to win the division. The South, I got the Texans. The West, I've got. Oh man, who do I got in the West? I really want to pick the Raiders to win that division, but I think they're a year away. I got the Chiefs winning the West. Wild card, I've got the Raiders and I've got the Patriots. I think the Bengals might miss it this year.
Ooh.
God, that's man. I really want to say the Patriots are going to miss it, but I that's just the hope. I think the Broncos miss the playoffs. I don't care what your defense is doing. When Mark Sanchez or Simeon or Paxton Lynch is your quarterback, you're not winning enough games in the AFC.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to agree. I see him as a 9-7 team. All right, Coach, let's hear what you got.
Shit. All right, let's. I guess I'll start in the NFC. Where should I start at? I will start in the NFC. We'll go NFC East. I'm gonna go with the Giants there. I just think they find a way to get it done, man. So I'm gonna go with the Giants there. Going to the West, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks there. The North, I'm going with the Packers. In the South, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Falcons bounce back.
Can see all of those happening.
Going to the wild cards there. I think a wild card is going to go to the Cardinals, and I think the other wild card goes to the Panthers.
Okay, fair enough. That's a pretty good lineup. All right, who you got in the AFC?
AFC South. I'm going to go with the Colts until someone else takes them out of that pedestal. I'm going to just leave them there. In the North, I'm going to go with the Steelers. The West, Broncos, regardless of what anyone else says. Peyton Manning was the worst quarterback in the league statistically last year.
He's pretty
He
bad.
didn't win a Super Bowl. So you can't get – I mean, I don't want to say you can't get worse, but he was pretty damn bad last year. So I don't see the fall off at the quarterback position being that much. And I really like what Wade Phillips does with that defense. So I'm going to go ahead and stick there and go with the Broncos. And in the AFC East, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Patriots stay on top of that division. My wild cards in the AFC are going to be the Jets and the Chiefs. I'm going to say we're going to miss the North on the wild card this year.
Oh, okay. All right. Two things I want to say. That's everybody is the Colts. A lot of people are down on the Colts. You gotta understand they almost made the playoffs with Matt Hasselbeck at the quarterback, and now it was because the AFC South was so terrible. But I don't see that improving. And Andrew Luck is a much better quarterback than Hasselbeck. Also, I like your point about the Broncos, but it is still Peyton Manning. Defenses still have to respect him. He wasn't very good, but he's also not going to make some of those rookie mistakes and throw pick sixes. Now, he did throw a couple interceptions last year, quite a few actually, but
Osweiler saved their season last year.
yeah, I don't know how they won that Super Bowl. He looked god-awful in the Super Bowl. That was one of the worst quarterback. And then they're talking about he went out on top. That was embarrassing for him. They won it, but damn. Extreme.
Right.
Oh, good. If he's got something to say, Coach.
Oh,
No, I was just agreeing with what
okay.
you said. It was a terrible Super Bowl game by Manning. That was god awful. But again, that's why I don't buy into the fact that they're just going to fall off the map. Their defense is stout, and they're going to hold guys to about 18 points a game, and we'll see what the offense can do, if anything. I think they're going to run the ball a lot more this year than they did in the past. So
they got to have a running back to do that.
And
they'll find one. That's the one thing that the Denver Broncos has never had a problem doing, whether it's the last pick in the draft or just some nobody that was packing groceries the week before. They'll find a running back.
Last year they didn't, but I feel you. I understand.
I wasn't too disappointed with their running backs last year. I mean, they did it by committee.
It took CJ half a year to have a 100-yard game, and after what he was doing.
Yeah, they're not going to have the feature back that a typical team would have, but I think they can get it done by the committee. The offense that they run doesn't really have to feature a number one back.
Fair enough. I mean, I understand. I could definitely see them making the playoffs and doing something because they have good enough defense, and if you have a good enough defense, the Seahawks improve. You can swarm an offense no matter what. Because I do believe the Broncos were the number one offense that year. That y'all beat them 48-0.
If I remember correctly, Trent Dilfer is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Very true.
Yeah, well, Mark Sanchez isn't.
Hey, but he's been to the AFC Championship 3 years in a row with a good defense.
If Brad Johnson
lost every year.
If Brad Johnson,
he went there. He took him there, and I think the Broncos have that caliber defense.
That was before the butt fumble, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. This is true. It all went downhill after the butt fumble.
If Brad Johnson can make a Super Bowl, anybody can. All right, Extreme.
I'll start off the AFC. I think it's going to be the Patriots.
Okay.
Then we'll go with the Bengals, and then the Texans, and the Raiders. And then the wild cards, I think, will be the Steelers, and I'm going to say the Colts.
Okay, so you have the Chiefs missing out and the Broncos missing out. You got
Yeah.
And the Raiders taking that division. Okay.
Something different. I honestly think the Raiders are going to have a good year. I think Carr's going to have a phenomenal season this year. I mean, he's on what they say, he threw 56 touchdowns in the first 2 years. So he's on pace to go.
He definitely upped his game last year. His first year was very average. He had the lowest league yards per attempt, and he kicked it up a notch last year.
Fresno State representing.
He definitely had the wide receivers. I don't have a lot of faith in their offensive coordinator because he's our old offensive coordinator. But then again, he was working with T-Jack, so you can only do so much with Tavares Jackson.
He's no Darrell Bevel, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we've had him too.
And then I think in the NFC, I'll go with the Vikings winning the division.
Woo!
Then we'll go with if the Cowboys can stay healthy and get it in order, I think the Cowboys will win that division. And then the Panthers, because I don't think there's anybody in that division they have to worry about. I don't think that Atlanta or Tampa Bay or New Orleans is going to be able to keep up with the Panthers. And then we'll go with Seattle winning their division. And the wild card, I'll go with the Packers and the Cardinals.
Seems like the NFC is pretty similar. I gotta appreciate y'all being high on the Vikings because most NFL people on like NFL.com and all that are not. I guess they think last season was a fluke. I've seen some 7-9 predictions coming out from us based off of our off-season moves. So I don't know why we're so low, but I do gotta say I'm surprised that y'all are so high on, or especially you Extreme are so high on the Cowboys and the Steelers, considering their defenses are terrible. But I guess it'll be all right. I guess that's it. Anything else y'all want to say before we go? It was a pretty quick podcast, but got some info out there. It's a pretty negative podcast to EA, honestly.
Let's tweet this one to them.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be sending me any free games anytime soon.
Hey, the squeaky wheel gets oiled, man.
That's right.
They send you a free game, they'll give you NBA Live.
Yep. You know they will. NBA Live.
They do that though. There's quite a few YouTubers that have been. There's one guy called Sim Football Critic, and he went from being a critic of Sim Football to essentially just a hype Madden channel now. So it's pretty impressive. They got some people in there that know how to change some minds. I'm impressed. They got whoever there's PR guys knows what they're doing.
Hey, make it happy. Get on payroll.
Vikes Hawks Thursday preseason game 2. It's a big one.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm curious to see how we're gonna do. Where is it? It's at Seattle.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm curious to see how we do, not in Vikings in negative 2-degree weather. Obviously, there's not going to be game plans and everything, but I still want to see how if the first game.
Just put on the tape from last December. You can see all you need to.
Yeah, I am going to the Bronco game this weekend, so I'm going to go check out the 49ers. But I am looking forward to this weekend. I am going to actually record the Dallas and Miami game.
All right, I got a question for y'all before we go. Dak Prescott, the real deal? Threw 2 touchdowns in preseason.
Not even close.
Too early.
Too early?
Are we talking if he had to play this year or 4 years from now?
This year. If he started this year, could he lead the Cowboys to the playoffs?
Hell no.
Okay. Coach?
Too early. Too early. He's not ready. That's not to say he can't be the man, just not right now.
No.
Extreme?
No, but the only thing is that he's going to end up getting some play time because Tony Romo goes down.
That'd be awesome because Cowboys will be 3-13 again. That'll be sweet.
But behind that,
I don't think that's an if. It's just a win.
Yeah, hopefully week 1.
How about this?
Actually, hopefully August 25th in Seattle, preseason week 3, we bust his ass up.
How about this? If Romo goes down again, is he the quarterback next year? Lacey?
No.
No, he retires. I think if he goes down again this year, he wraps it up.
I agree.
Okay. Extreme?
And Johnny Manziel's their quarterback.
Oh, God.
Okay. He'd have to retire because with Jerry Jones, he'd keep him. He'd let him
Jerry
start.
Jones would keep him?
He'd let him start.
That's tough. If your quarterback's going down every year like that, eventually you got to give up on him. Especially when you've got the best offensive line in the league, and it's not even close. And that's in real life and Madden, you know. So.
Yeah, they could always throw Coach Garrett back there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, guys, that's a pretty good podcast. So we'll wrap it up, and we'll see y'all next week. Everybody that's going to be on, try and get some impressions. It's going to be mostly an impression video next week, and getting hyped up for next Madden, or our league to start. Maybe talking about the preseason tourney. So other than that, we're good to go. And
Hey, on the early release there, what date is it? Do we have a date?
the early release is tomorrow at midnight, from what I'm hearing.
Tomorrow at midnight.
Midnight
Word.
Eastern tomorrow.
You've got 10
Well,
hours.
gentlemen, I'll be on tomorrow at midnight looking for a game.
Oh, I already got one set up with Bates, so our rivalry will continue.
Well, the rest of you guys reach out to me. I'm looking for a game.
I'm not playing Lacey until the season starts. He's not getting my game plan.
Yeah, no scouting coming. That's fine.
Well, Lacey, come shoot my way. We're not in the same division or anything, so shoot that game my way.
All right, guys. I'll hit y'all up. Yeah, peace.